Hey everybody, this is Mandy from Chapel Forge. So I posted the other day that I had gotten beef suet from several local butchers. So I was getting my suet just from one butcher and they can't keep up with how much I need. It's a great problem. So in my last video, I talked about preparing the fruit and herbs and things like that I put into my soap, how I dry all of them. If you're interested in that, I'll link that below. Today we're going to work on the tallow. So basically I buy all of this beef suet, which is basically beef fat, that I render down into tallow. So I did a video, which again, I'll link that below, about rendering lard. And it's really basically the same process, but I know a lot of people were kind of curious what the suet looks like, you know, just kind of understanding the process of how their soap is made. As I mentioned in the last video, our goat milk soap has the benefits of the goat milk and the benefits of the tallow. So tallow is super nourishing to your skin. It's really moisturizing. I've had a lot of customers that have like eczema, psoriasis, acne, things like that, say that this is the only soap they've been able to use that doesn't irritate it. It's clearing things up. So there's just so many benefits. You know, there's a reason that we try to use all the parts of the animal. So today we're going to take you through the process of rendering down the tallow that we're then going to use in goat milk soap. All right, so we have our box of fat and Zad's getting the bus tub ready. He's got a sharp knife. He's got the sharpener and the honer, I think, right? That's what they're called. So just so we can make sure we have a sharp knife. So basically the first step is going to be to get all of this beef fat cut up into manageable pieces that we can then feed into the meat grinder, which is the attachment on the KitchenAid, which we will get over here and get that grinder attachment on and show you how that works. All right, so Zad is basically cutting this down into strips because it's going to get fed into the meat grinder. So long strips like this are the easiest. Obviously, some of them are going to be cut short or whatever, and it doesn't really matter. But he's basically just trying to get it down into manageable pieces. So obviously, this part's going to take a little bit. Once he gets the bus tub full and we're ready to move on to grinding, we'll show you what that looks like. All right, so when we're cutting down suet, most of it is fat. I would say 90% of it is good usable fat. Sometimes you'll get pieces in that have a bunch of blood or just like tendons, I guess. What would you call it?
Yeah, I'm not a butcher. Sure, I'm not a butcher.
Right. So stuff we don't want in our tallow. So when we have stuff like that, I've shown this bin before. It's my favorite bin and I will link it in the description. It's amazing for chicken scraps. So this time of year, obviously, the chickens could use a little bit of extra and they're freeloading. So if I can offset the grain bill at all, let's do it. So these parts that we don't want in our tallow and then ultimately in our soap, we're gonna put in the chicken bin and feed to the chicken. So Zad's still working through this. We're probably gonna need to bring in the second bus tub. If you don't have bus tubs, you should 100% get. All right, so a couple notes as we're running through this. So we have some super, super clean tallow, and then we have some that's kind of like, it's almost like, how'd you describe it? Like crackly, flaky, crackly. And I've had this in the past. The butcher that I normally get it from that couldn't hook me up this time, it's like that. And it's fine. It still renders down just fine. Just know that if you're cooking down something like this, it could vary. I mean, obviously it's going to be dependent on what it was fed and how it was raised and, you know, all that kind of stuff. How long has it been sitting? Obviously in the cold, but how long has it been sitting?
It feels drier.
Yeah, definitely that crackly stuff feels a little bit drier. It'll still all work. It'll all be fine. I'm definitely interested to see how my yield goes with this. I think, as I've mentioned, I usually get suet for free or almost nothing. I did have to buy this suet, which is fine. I mean, I am happy to support local butchers and all that kind of stuff. But I'm curious to see what our yield is going to be. So stay tuned. I know how much I bought when we started, how many pounds we started. It was around 50, I think. I gotta double check. I say I know what it is and then I make a guess. I have it written down somewhere. And then I want to weigh it before we start rendering it down, and then I want to weigh it when we're done and see what kind of yield we get. So I'm excited to see how that goes. Okay, friends, so Zad has all of this cut up. This is beautiful on top. Oh my gosh, there was almost no crap in the one butcher's stuff. The other one, there was some crap, but it's fine. So we got about a half a 5-gallon bucket full of our trash can scraps, and what we're not turning into tallow are in here, which is great because we can feed that to the chickens. Or if you have pigs, you can feed them too. So Zad is going to show you how to assemble the meat grinder on the KitchenAid. A goal for us is to get like an actual standalone meat grinder. If we raise hogs down the line or something, or maybe we live on some land where we can hunt deer or whatever, we definitely need to get our own meat grinder. This one's fine, but it definitely puts a lot of undue stress on the, what do you call this, babe?
Oh, the attachment.
The attachment like hole.
Just it being a tilt
and
head.
yeah, because it's a tilt head, all of that. So it's fine and it's made to do that, but we definitely would love to have our own standalone. So Zad's gonna show you how to assemble it, and then I'll link, I'll try to link to this attachment in the description.
So you're going to take the auger and insert the square head into the square head receiver. Then you're going to take, oops, sorry, reverse that. Put the auger into the housing. You're going to put this in and have the auger go into the square head receiver. Twist your attachment screw down tight. Then you're going to pick what size screen you want to use. I think we're going to try the smaller one again. Seemed to work pretty good.
We did the
time.
smaller one for lard, so we're going to use the same one for tallow. Frankly, you could probably use either one, but...
Take your blade, put it onto the square chuck that it has. This has a little notch. You want to put it to that notch. So,
can that go on backwards, or it only fits one way?
Well, I mean, it can go, I guess, either direction. But
okay.
There's a little nub here that it needs to sit down into that little groove.
Yep.
So turn it till it locks in. Take your retaining ring and spin that on.
All right, so that's how you put that attachment on.
So, of course, you want to put your attachments on when it's not plugged in. I meant to say that earlier. Safety first. I have ours pushed all the way against the backsplash, and we're using a big bus tub because the countertop's not quite deep enough to leave it out here.
If your wife would have listened to you when we put outlets in the island, we wouldn't have this problem.
So I have some cutting boards stacked here so that it can go underneath and sit here. I'll just push it to the back. That way the rotating portion where your beater goes doesn't hit the tub. I'm going to say somewhere between 4 and 6. We never got an owner's manual when we got this KitchenAid because we bought it secondhand. So
we did 4 for lard though, and that seemed to work. You could, it may really depend on the makeup of your fat too. So, you know, obviously use your best judgment.
With it. So we're going to just load this in to the hole here, load it in and plunge down when, you know, or fold it and then push it down in so it gets to the auger so the auger can do its work. That's why with lard I was cutting these into cubes, and I realized that I could just take it like this and feed it down in and not have as many pieces and having to constantly push and compact. I can just drop it in and the auger kind of pulls it through because it's one long piece. So in a previous video I think we posted, I was doing cubes. I figured out that doing long strips is quicker and easier for us. So I'm going to kick it over to 2, then 4, start there, and just start pushing it in.
I guess also now's a good time to tell people that you fix KitchenAid mixers, so if they need their KitchenAid mixer fixed and it's not sounding that healthy, Zad can help you out. So he cleans them, re-greases them, adds a new gasket. It's kind of been a fun thing for him to do in the winter when we're a little bit slower. It's cold out. You know, our shop's not insulated or heated. So it's a great thing for him to just do at the dining room table. So if you need help with that, you can drop it to us or ship it to us or whatever you need, and he can get you fixed up. That was just my little sidebar about KitchenAid. So you can see that he's plunging it down in. It's just making shreds of, it's not exactly the most appealing thing or appetizing looking thing, but it's shredding it down, and we're gonna get this all grinded, get it all grinded up, and then we'll show you what the next step is. All right, so we have this pretty well rendered down, pretty well melted. Obviously our pot's pretty full. So what we're gonna do now is we have this strainer that's pretty fine mesh. Obviously if you're doing a smaller amount, you could use something like one of these finer strainers, smaller strainers, you know, like handheld or whatever you have. But you want to strain it so you can kind of get the bits out. So I'm gonna show you that now. All right, so obviously you want to be careful because you may get some splashing. Zad is just gonna pour this over. You can see there's still some little bits, which is fine. That'll all get caught in the strainer. And then all of that beautiful tallow is going to go into this bucket, and it's going to basically turn white when it cools, and it's going to be perfect for soap. It'll be one of my hard fats. The other one that I use is coconut oil. This is going to be amazing. I'll show you what it looks like once you pulls it. Looks like while it's still melted, it has a really pretty kind of golden yellow color. Kind of looks like pea, I guess. You want to, we tried to get as many bits out as we can. It's not a huge deal if you don't get every teeny tiny little piece, but we'll show you what this looks like once it's cooled. Like I said, it'll be a beautiful white color. Alright, so it is, typical fashion for us. It's 10 of 11, and Zuzu is obviously not very happy. So, we have 2 pots of fat on right now. So Zad finished it up. I'm going to work on doing the dishes. We're going to let these cook down. This one is just sitting here working on cooling. That color you see on the spoon is what that whole bucket's going to be here soon. So we're going to finish this up. I'll show you the end of the process and we'll be done. All right, so it's midnight and we're finally done. And I'm guessing... Well, we still have to wash a couple dishes. I did most of the dishes though. I probably got 7 gallons of tallow from 50 pounds of fat, which is, I think, a really, really great yield. I was expecting this to add about 10 cents per bar to my soap, and I'm probably gonna fall around 8 to 10 cents a bar, which is fine. I mean, that's a cost I can eat, and have a little wiggle room. So I'm fine with that. If I can't get the beef fat for free and I have to buy it, there's a lot more value in it than it adding 10 cents. It adds to the bar. I'm supporting a local butcher shop. So I'm happy with this. I think that 7 gallons is great. We got a lot of really great scraps, probably 3/4 full of a 5-gallon bucket of scraps between what came off of the lard and just our scraps from the day. So that's awesome. So I hope that you learned how to render your own tallow. So like I said, if you are just looking for a cooking fat, if you want to try to make your own soap or your own lotion or things like that, tallow is a great way to work a lot of really good vitamins and minerals and just all kinds of good qualities in tallow into your skin, or just into your diet. So if you have any questions about this, as always, reach out to me. And if you want to buy soap, check that out on our website at chapelhillforge.com. Of course, I'll link that into the description. If you have any questions about our soap or its benefits or whatever, I have a blog on it, or you can shoot me a message, send me an email at chapelhillforge at gmail. It's late. I think I'm done. At gmail.com, and I can help you out. Have a good day, guys.